I already gave a bit of a tee up to Brooke Lipoff. She is a 6-star diamond coach. She's been a Beachbody coach for about 5 years. She's a 2-time elite coach as recently as 2018, 54 months in Success Club. She's a Success Club 10 legend. And what I love is in the last 12 months, she sponsored over 45 brand new coaches. So, really an active coach, and she's doing some things very, very right. So Brooke, all the way from Prospect, Kentucky, welcome to the call.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
And I love you sitting there in the kitchen, right?
Hey, this is where most of our businesses are built, right?
That's absolutely right. That's a little bit of an inside joke, because before the call we were saying, is it better here? Is it better here? Better here? And then we land where this really is where the work is done, and where most moms out there are saying, look, I'm making it happen in my business. I'm making it happen at home. I'm doing everything that matters. So,
and it's never this clean. So.
Oh, I don't believe that. I choose not to believe that, but regardless. Hey, well, so Brooke, welcome to the call. And I know there's a lot of people that are looking forward to this call, because they know, and maybe back up a step, as a member of the Roundtable 5-star diamond and above, you're present on that wall, and you are a very abundant individual. From sharing, you put your systems in place, you do graphics, you do a lot of things. And you just have this knack of grabbing hold of things and kind of condensing them into a format that's usable and that resonates. And so let me just recognize how much I appreciate, and how many others I know appreciate what you do, from just openly sharing. And I love that, because it just makes the culture one of, what is it? The rising tide raises all ships kind of a thing. And that's what you're doing. So thank you for that.
I love to contribute, and I feel like whenever we do that, it opens everybody else up to new ideas and sharing too. So
yeah, and that's really the whole idea, right? So you're certainly a leader in that regard, and I know people are looking forward to this call. So before we get into the essence of the call, of some of these systems and things that you do to create momentum in your business, let's go back like we always do, 5 years or so, and say, okay, Brooke, you were a professional in another field, but how did you become a Beachbody coach?
Yeah, so I actually started with my journey when my now husband, Jason, I was introduced to him. I was working as a full-time hygienist in a small town, and he was working as a pediatric dentist in the same area. Neither of us were from this area, and he walked into my life really when I had hit rock bottom. Just recently had ended a really toxic relationship that had left me really broken in a lot of ways, but especially financially. I was struggling to pay my bills, even though I was a successful dental hygienist, making great income. I had overextended myself, and I found myself, transferring every balance 0% offer I got in the mail. That was me. I'm like, okay, yay, I can buy more time. And I started to, my health was a mess because of all this stress and everything that was going on. And more importantly, my binge eating came back. I had struggled with that in high school. I struggled with it in college, and I thought that I kind of tamed that monster, and I hadn't. It came back with a vengeance. And it was worse than it had ever been. I was binge eating more than ever, and also adding on top of that, trying to exercise it off. So I would binge and then go try and burn all of the calories off that I had consumed. And I thought somehow that would erase what I had done. And I was just in this really bad cycle. And then here was Jason, like this super healthy, fit, energetic, even after seeing crazy kiddos all day. He was so energetic and so healthy, and he really inspired me to get my health in check. And so I started going to the gym and really started falling in love with fitness, because before, fitness was only as punishment. I had used it to erase my binges, to lose weight, and I never really looked at fitness as therapy or fun. And I started to change my mindset with just being around him. And I think a lot of us can relate to whatever coach we were inspired by, made us feel that way too. And so I really started feeling more confident. Obviously, my physical body was changing, but my financial situation was getting worse and worse. I actually found myself in a position where I had to ask my parents for money, which was incredibly shameful. I felt really embarrassed to have to do that, and never thought I wanted to be a burden on them. And it really all came to a head when I found myself one week driving a whole town over to the grocery store to get groceries, because I was so fearful that my credit card would get declined, and either some of my patients would see me there and see that happen to me, or Jason would be there and see that happen. And so I knew something had to change, and my only thing that I could do is really take another position as a hygienist at a more demanding office, a longer commute, and working a lot longer hours. And so I knew that it was temporary, but I had to do it to get out of the debt situation I was in. I sold my house, my car, all of that, living very minimally. And my health started to regress again because of the time that I didn't have to make it to the gym. So I started to research at-home programs and stumbled upon T25. And Jason had mentioned his friend Sean that he played baseball with was a coach and could get us started. So I ordered T25, and I remember the first day I got home from work. It was a super long day. I had a horrible patient that day who was so mean to me. And, you know, those ones that come in, they hate the dentist. Everybody hates the dentist, right? So he had it was a horrible day. And I got home and I saw the T25 on my porch. I snapped a picture of it and posted it on Facebook. And I was like, this is my start. And I committed to that program, got amazing results in just, you know, that short amount of time, and it fit into my schedule perfectly. And people started to notice, and I started feeling more confident. I'm like, I'm going to share my before and afters on Facebook. And this was before I was a coach. So I decided to share my before and afters on Facebook, and people just started asking me, what was that? What are you doing? And it was really just from that first customer experience that got a lot of people interested in. I was like, maybe I would love to help more people with this. And even started helping my patients. I was seeing them every 3 to 6 months for their oral health, and seeing that their overall health was a mess. And so it gave me another dimension to my hygiene career to really help them and have another tool in my toolbox to help them with their overall health. And I found that it actually helped with their oral health too, because it's a lot about habits and everything. So I became really passionate about it. And I obviously signed up. I don't know if I mentioned that part, but I signed up to coach to help them. And that's kind of where we got started with coaching.
So what you're saying, Brooke, is like while you were cleaning people's teeth, you would do speed 2.0 and rib body circuit and the whole deal. And that was, what are you doing here?
Right. And it's crazy. I always say that becoming a coach made me a better clinician because it taught me to interview people and bring out, you know, there's such a correlation there. It really did help with my communication skills times 100 as a dental hygienist.
Oh, that's great. So you did T25, you became a better hygienist, you started sharing your journey with people. And like everybody, there's a time or a process where things start to get a little bit of traction. It usually doesn't happen right out of the gates, but there's some things you did for it to take off. What can you share with the people listening about how that happened?
Yeah, so I think it really took off after that initial post. I started seeing that more people really needed to hear my story or get, you know, their health in check too. And I got those closest to me involved in everything, but it didn't really start to take off until I started having a lot more people interested through consistently sharing my journey and adding value to my Facebook and to my patients, and them starting to get started. I had so many conversations going at once with a very limited time frame to get back to these people. I mean, I was diligent on my scheduling of my time and my priorities. However, I had so many conversations going that I felt like I was all over the place. And I tried to do the business activity tracker as it's laid out, you know, small amount of people each day, you know, consistently it was going to build my business. But I actually found for me, I needed to create systems that worked for me. And that was a blueprint, you know, and I could build on that blueprint that was laid out for success. And success leaves clues, but you can change those things. And so I had to figure out what was going to work for me instead of saying, okay, if I can't follow exactly like this, then this isn't going to work for me. So for myself, I found that having, you know, 1 or 2 days a week where I did all of my inviting, my folloall-ups, and really poured into those days where I had more time. And then those long 12-hour days when I was sometimes gone from dark to dark, I would just, all I had to do was spend time following up. And I knew, I didn't really know at the time, but now looking back, I was creating what was really a duplicatable system for my team too, because they were going to be busy. I recruited a lot of hygienists who were in people's mouths all day. We don't have time to go and check our phone, although a lot of us hide in the bathroom sometimes and would message people back. But
don't tell us that, Brooke. We don't want to hear that.
I hope my last employers never see this. But anyway, Yeah, I would find myself having such a big gap between the messages. And when that was happening, I would message somebody at 5 o'clock in the morning before my early morning workout. And then what I would find is I couldn't get back to them really until 9 o'clock at night. And there was such a gap between those interviewing questions to get them to the start that they were starting to fall off. And I was like, how can I get a bunch of people started without losing that personal connection? And I was like, groups have been on Facebook so beneficial for building that community and trust and really delivering information really fast. And so I started thinking outside the box. The top coaches, what were they doing? They were creating landing pages and websites to send people to. And I was like, I can't do that. That's not something I can do right now. And so it forced me to create duplicatable systems that were simple to implement from day one when a new coach signed up, because I needed it. And so I was on that journey with them learning. So all they had to do was just duplicate what I did with them, which was so simple. Do the program, share your results, share it with friends. When you get them started, all they needed to do is just add them into a Facebook group where we had the information. It really started around 21 Day Fix. We did a 21 Day Fix sneak peek, and I learned all about the program through our product training guides and really leaned into that and got really excited with the team. And we all invited to this little sneak peek 21 Day Fix group. And so we were able to give bite-sized information to get people excited. And then there was an end date, join by this date, and you'll be able to be in this group with all of us. And we all leaned on each other because we're busy. And what was great about it is it not only created community, it was duplicatable, and the people in the group saw that system and they're like, if I join, I have the support. And anytime I've noticed that my business slows down a little bit, I look and I say, what am I doing that's not duplicating? And it's usually because I had more time and I spent, I love creating stuff. You guys know this. But if I spend too much time creating and working on things that aren't duplicatable, it doesn't matter if it's successful to me. What matters is, because I can only help so many people, I need my coaches to be able to implement it from day one. And so that's always been, I have to hold myself back a lot because I'm like, I want to share this and this and this. And I have to be like, no, I have to do what my team could do. And I have to put myself back in those shoes when I was a dental hygienist, crazy busy, and what I did then. And I found myself in that situation here recently, having a newborn and a 2-year-old. I have to schedule my time just like I did as a hygienist, and everything has to be super easy for me. And I see my team taking off now because of that mentality of me being in the trenches with them. So I think as a leader, sometimes we have more time, and even as a brand new coach, you might think, if I just had more time, you waste more time. That's what I was doing. I was wasting more time on activities that weren't duplicatable. So keep it simple. And that, that part of the duplication that creates momentum, that's so sustainable. And that's what really gives you freedom. And I really, truly feel like I could go on vacation, even though I don't feel like I need to, from Beachbody, and my business can run itself because my team, we have this system in place.
So that's a great answer. There was a lot in there, but if you were to take that and I think just strip away down to the essence of that, the original question was, when did the business start to take place? And it really was when you identified, one, you've got to duplicate in your business, and two, you've got to leverage the power of some systems and bringing people together in this group environment. And I love the fact also you pointed out that yeah, you got to customize stuff to yourself so that it works, for yourself. It's not a one size fits all. But I think the great news for newer coaches also is that there's so many resources that are available. If it's the challenge group guides, those pieces that you can learn from to help you pull groups together and get you started, and then you can start to, customize around that. And so I think absolutely critical, because time is managing ourselves is the tough piece. And I think Brooke is answering one of the most fundamental questions of this business as to how people become successful. And you can do this by yourself all day long. And what will happen with that, you will burn out because it's just you. And secondly, you won't develop the leadership that you want. So really the key is, how do you duplicate what your efforts are and create a system that lets you leverage and become more effective and efficient in that process? So, Brooke, let's jump into that, because that's really what the core of this call is all about, putting these groups together in an effective way and in an efficient way. So let's go that. We've got about, let's look at my clock there. We've got about 9 minutes to get through that. So let's keep it moving.
Let's go. So I want to share with you guys, there's a ton of stuff that I could share with you about systems and all of that, but this is what's working right now. And I want to share things that you can implement today. You know, we're at the end of the month and you should be able to implement this with you, yourself, or your team and hit your goals by the end of this month. And so one of the first things is, I talked about the sneak peek groups, and with the sneak peek groups, it's kind of like a launch group. And so I'm going to give the example of the 2B launch group that we did. I hit my highest month ever of Success Club, over 130, and signed up a ton of coaches. And I was 9 months pregnant, having contractions, and a toddler running around my house. So I know that it was a duplicatable system too, because my team was hitting their best months. And with this, we create the Facebook group, and I'm just going to share because there's a lot of different things you could do with these groups, add your own personality, but I want to share what the main things that I feel like boosted this group and made it so successful. Within this group, you got to do it as a team. If I wasn't doing it with a team, like there's just so much power in numbers and that social proof. If I'm talking to someone one-on-one in conversation, it's just me and them, and I might be the only Beachbody coach they know in their newsfeed. So I'm the only one talking about this new program and showing my excitement. But when they get in a group of 300, 500 people all excited about this program, they're like, oh, okay. They start to see that social proof from it. And so it's really important to try to do this as a team. If you don't have a team, find somebody in this chat on live, on the Facebook page, and find a success partner to do this with and team up. So that was one big thing, is do it as a team. Don't try to go at it alone and do your own thing, because that team momentum is what you really want. And you want your people who are in that group to look at it and say, I could do this too, because they have a system in place. So one of the big things that we did is the welcome post. It had the program video, that the sizzle reel that kind of explained the video. But what was really important that we added, we're not replacing that one-on-one conversation, but we really want to get out of the one-on-one conversation into a group atmosphere where people are starting to open up and share. And so in that welcome post, we added the interview questions we normally go back and forth with in one-on-one. So what do you struggle with? What's your dieting past like? And asking those types of questions actually in the post help these people connect with each other. And so there might be a brand new coach that's adding someone to the group. All they have to do is tag them in that pinned post and say, check in here. And that new coach may not have struggled with binge eating or emotional eating in the past, but they have somebody who did. And so when they tag them in that post, they're seeing all of these people who now they can relate to. So now, even though, that coach didn't have that issue, this person feels connected to the group, the community, and wants to be a part of it. If the coach didn't really connect with it, maybe they wouldn't have joined. So it gets a lot more people started. The other big thing that we did differently with this group than in the past is we had the test group members. We had a couple of them go live in our group. So I seeked out a couple that would really relate to kind of my team and asked them to go live in the group and just explain a little bit about the program and their experience. And that was huge because, again, I don't struggle with certain things that those test group participants did, but my future challengers might have. And this even got our coaches excited about it. And in the process, it's actually teaching our coaches like all about our programs and products because they are in this group too. So as a brand new coach, you can see like how beneficial these groups would be too. Something else that we did instead of, I mentioned landing pages. Landing pages, is something where you typically would send someone to get all of the information on something. And that's that one-on-one process again. And there's no real excitement or momentum with that. But what we did is in the document section of a Facebook page, we actually created a document that was basically a landing page in Facebook. So people aren't being sent somewhere else and getting lost in the rabbit hole of YouTube or wherever. All the information was right there in our page. So we could keep them in there and keep them focused. All a coach had to do, if somebody had a question about what's all the details of 2B mindset, just tag them in that post. And so you can add videos to those documents, you can add pictures and tons of stuff. So that was one huge benefit. And then with Lift 4, we did the exact same thing, but we also added the free workout that we had to give people too. Some extras that we helped notice was meal plan examples and recipes. One big tip when something's getting ready to launch, stalk the creators of the program. I went to Ilana's page and became a student. I don't ever want to, keeping things duplicatable again, I don't want to be the expert. Anytime I try to be the expert, things start to not be duplicatable and people don't see themselves as being able to be a Beachbody coach. So I wanted to put the expert stuff on Ilana and Joel. And so if somebody asked a question, I would answer it with their response, not my response. And if somebody was, if there was something that Ilana shared that was super valuable, I shared those within the group. And we also had check-in posts with food and prizes and things like that. But here's the key. This is what I feel like was the biggest factor in getting people to see the value in what we offer. I added the packages, so the challenge packs, into the group. And when we are talking to new people, they do not see the value in a challenge pack right away. We know how valuable they are, but when we say it's $10 off this month, that's all they see. They're like, oh, it's just 10 bucks off? What's the big deal about that? But when you break it down per item in this group and even in private message with who you're talking to. So I would take the 2B Mindset BOD challenge pack, and I would say BOD is usually $99. You've got Shakeology, $130. The tracker itself is $30. The water bottle, $15, and broke it down by each thing. And the picture would say regularly $400 sold separately. However, you get a package of it for this amount. And that was creating such value. They don't care about the $10 off. They don't care about the $20 off. They're seeing this huge value. And that's something that I learned from the 2B Mindset group that I've implemented moving forward. And how does this save time? Obviously, there's not a ton of back and forth. You make your call out post and you message the person interested and say, I'm going to add you to a group because it's so much easier to just deliver the information there. And so then that gets them in that social setting with the group. So there's none of that back and forth with 20, 30 people. And that's how I was able to get 130 plus Success Club points and a ton of other benefits, and my team as well, because it was so simple to duplicate. And it's really a copy paste kind of thing without removing that personal connection. And what really got them to take action at the end is we had the deadline to purchase to get into the test group, to get into our group. And the day of launch, we would post who ordered theirs. And it really created that fear of missing out. And so the next one I want to talk about, it's basically the exact same thing, except kind of seasonal, I guess you'd say. So we just implemented this. There was a leader, Rachel Baldwin, who shared this with us. And I was like, let's see, it was the 15th of the month. And I looked at my Coach Online office, and I had 0 Success Club points. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get my stuff together. So she had shared that she had done these flash sales or these back to school sales that were short in duration and really got people excited and highlighted our current items that were on sale.
Brooke, I'm going to stop you before you go into this for a second, yeah. Okay? Because I think this is a great segue, but I also want to go back to what you just shared, because I think that there was a structure there that you shared that's really helpful for new coaches to understand. And if they weren't listening really carefully, they may have missed some of that. And I'm just looking at notes here, but I mean, really, you started with, you created a launch group or a sneak peek group, and you had your welcome videos in there. You did a good job of explaining what the program was going to be in there. And I love this concept of where you broke down the value of the package so that they really saw what the value was. So when they see $160 or whatever the amount is going to be, $180, they see the value of each one of those packages. And then you also created some urgency around deadlines to get into those groups. And then you shared how to invite people into these groups. So there was a structure behind what you just shared in creating these groups and how those become systematic, 1, and 2, duplicatable or duplicable, or however you say that word. So I don't want that process or that system that you referred to to be lost on people. So anyway, that's just a quick summary, probably not a great summary, but it's a summary nonetheless. So now let's talk about these little seasonal sales you were talking about.
Yeah, so like I said, it's the same structure. It's just short in duration, and it really gets people excited. And you can call it whatever you'd like to. A lot of people might want to call it a back to school sale. And within these groups, what you do, you want to keep it short because that's what creates the momentum and excitement. But you're just following that exact same structure, but you're highlighting the current discounted items. So we've got 2B Mindset, we've got Lift 4 that's still on sale, beach bars, Daily Sunshine popped up literally the day that we launched our group. And I need to go back to this. Tuesday, I found myself at 0 Success Club points. I went live in my group, in my team page, and I said, I'm going to do this. I don't know if it's going to work, but if you want to trust me, join me. And so typically I'll try to unroll some things before and see if it works and then introduce to my team. But with this, I was like, I really think we can create momentum and do this together and it's going to work. And so we implemented it and I got to 34 Success Club points in 24 hours because of this system. And I saw new coaches hitting their highest months and getting messages from coaches saying, oh my gosh, this was huge for my business. Thank you so much for doing this. And so what you'll do is you highlight those, the current discounted packages, and Daily Sunshine went on sale in the middle of it, right when we started. So it was actually perfect timing. And then the annual all access Beachbody On Demand Challenge Pack, it's on sale all the time. But those were the ones that we highlighted. We didn't want to give them too many options. And then again, we created those documents that I talked about that we kind of use as landing pages to tag people and that explained what is Beachbody On Demand, what is a challenge group, and coaches started, commenting in the what is challenge group. They would tag their people and say, my challenge starts on this date. And it explained perfectly what a challenge group is. Where did I get this information? The Beachbody blog. We have so many amazing resources, the product training guides, the Beachbody blog, and that's where I copied and pasted the information into that document. And I'm happy to share what I posted into my groups and the documents I created so you can implement this tonight.
So people are going to say, well, I'm happy to share. What we'll do, guys, is I'll work with Kevin, Sean. We'll get these posted into the champions page. So hopefully you're members of the champions page. If not, just send a check to me and I'll get you in there. No, we'll get that posted today sometime for Brooke.
Perfect. Thank you. And that way there's no excuses. It will work for you if you implement it and get going with it today. And it's a flash sale. So surprising, right? You're really going to be surprised. And so will your people. So once they purchase, we also added a photo that said, I got and it showed their package, and they would comment below once they had purchased their package. We had the deadline of Friday of midnight, and people started commenting on their packages. I got this, and now it created that fear of missing out. And we were just shocked with the amount of momentum this gained. We even extended it a day because there were still people like, oh my gosh, I got to get the deals. Guys, they're the same deals that they have access to all the time. It was the excitement we created around it. We weren't misleading them by saying, that there's this crazy flash sale that Beachbody is doing. We said, this is an end of summer sale. These are the monthly things on sale now. And so that really got them excited and interested. And it was just our excitement that got them in that fear of missing out. So,
hey, Brooke, just a quick question with those. Did you tie those into a group? I mean, obviously there's a 3-day window, but were those tied into the group, or was the primary focus just on the discounted items that Beachbody's already offering?
The discounted item, it was already the discounted items that Beachbody was offering within the group.
Yeah, no, I got that. But did you invite them into like a challenge group or into your sneak peek group as part of that? How did you tie those together?
Yeah, so this was actually just the small group, but with that document that I added with, here's what a challenge group is, so they understood that, the coaches were talking to them one-on-one, like when their challenge group was going to start. And we would mention, this, you'll get this, and then you'll be starting a challenge group. So each coach had their own start date for their group. And then they would comment in that document that explained challenge groups, just giving them their start date. And then they were talking to them one-on-one, behind the scenes too. Is that what you meant?
That answers the question. Okay, we got about 5 minutes, so we got to move pretty quickly here.
Yep, we'll be good. And just to add to that, with the 2B mindset, anytime there's like a launch group where it's the same program, we always, as a team, have a test group together afterwards, like the test group as a team. And so in those groups, we would say, you're going to get to join us as soon as you buy by this date too. So there's always a date and a deadline. And I found it, you kind of keep these short. I tried with Shift Shop to have a month-long sneak peek, and it didn't work as well. The smaller duration, the better, because people lose interest, people are busy and they forget about it. So yeah, the key again with the flash sale or the end of summer sale, whatever you want to call it, is to break those packages down by each item's cost. And that's when people are like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing deal. Like even with Lift 4, just the bands themselves are what, $25, $30. The shaker cup itself is $7 if you wanted to purchase it, plus shipping. And so they really saw the value when you break it down that way and to see. And so another way that you can do this on a smaller scale at any point in time in your business, because people are going to say, well, what if there's not something launched? What if we can't do a flash sale every single week, or every month? What do we do? You want to be forward thinking. What's coming in September? We've got pumpkin spice coming, can't wait. And then or October, November, we've got proving grounds coming. There's always something you can look for. My thoughts on, being forward thinking and thinking outside the box is always focus 5% on the problem and 95% on the solution. So if you notice, like, my people keep coming to me saying they have sugar cravings, do a 3-day refresh type of like sneak peek group and get people started from there. There's always something that you can, look forward to doing. And so with the last one that I'm talking about, you can implement this type of group by yourself if you wanted to, and invite your coaches and just your clients, especially if you're a brand new coach. But you could call it like, my open enrollment is now open for this month, and this is what I plan to do moving forward, and add them to one of these little groups where I'm sharing the information. They have a deadline to join, and I'll say the enrollment is ending this day, and so they know exactly when they have to join. So you could call it, you have to call it open enrollment, but in your posting, you can say open enrollment is now open. And so then they have that deadline. You put the information to the group, just like I explained, and run it just the same way, and have that kind of join this with me versus I'm the expert, let me coach you. That type of lingo has helped me a lot too. I used to try to be the expert, and now I'm learning that people aren't looking for the expert. They're looking for the accountability, and they want to be able to do this with you. Plus, we want them to see that they can be a coach too. When we become too much of the expert, they don't want anything to do with it. So something else to add to this that's super important, if you're going to do one of those like open enrollment, like general groups, you can highlight, just like I said, the sales that are on for that month for Beachbody. But I mentioned this to Sandy, and she's like, oh, you have to mention this. The coach sampler pack is so key to a lot of my new coaches' success. And I recommend that they purchase this while they're signing up. When you're doing as a new coach, if you're doing one of these little sneak peeks on your own and you're inviting just your friends and family, and it's just a smaller group, you may not have all the experience with all of our programs and products, but you do have all of these. So with the Coach Sampler Pack, you get the Daily Sunshine, the 2 sampler packs of Shakeology, the Beachbody Performance, and 10 packs of Energize. So you can easily go live within the group and just be like, this is and showing them what exactly everything looks like has been really beneficial for our new coaches. And it helps them in the process learn about everything, because they're forced to learn about it because they're going to be sharing about it. And so that kind of becomes their training in the process. And we had, a coach implement this system just last month and barely did any training, although you should always do training, guys. Barely did any training and hit over 20 Success Club points. And she's like, what do I do? And so getting that momentum going, now she's going to keep going. And so, with that said, I hope that you guys implement one of these today and get going with it.
Yeah, I really hope. I mean, there's a lot of information there that's worth going back and listening to this call again and breaking it down, because I mean, all the way from the groups, from the concept of the system and making it duplicatable and creating that environment. But if nothing else, I think what you also felt from Brooke is the standpoint of taking the products that we have and leveraging those and creating understanding around those and creating value around those, in these groups and a sense of urgency. And I think those are the pieces that are just fundamental to creating a successful business. Okay, Brooke, we are out of time, but 1 minute. Okay, 5 years ago to today, you started out talking about a bit of a frenetic, anxiety-filled life. Is it still that way? Sometimes, yes, absolutely.
Definitely with 2 little ones now. But I never really intended on replacing my hygiene career with Beachbody. I love being a hygienist, but I started seeing how beneficial it was for me to be able to have more hours off, because hygiene was really demanding on me physically and mentally. And I didn't have kids at the time back in 2015, but I started seeing maybe I wanted to stay home later. And so I started working towards that goal. And, my husband and I also had a dream of creating a dream dental practice one day. And, with what I was doing, I was starting to feel really burnt out because I was working really crazy hours, but my Beachbody income and what I was earning was able to let me take a step back and work less hours and have more freedom of time. And I wanted more freedom of time. And so I could work hygiene on my terms and do it the way I wanted to and not follow somebody else's structure of how to treat patients and everything. So Jason and I have been able to stay home like with our 2 little ones for the last couple years and really brainstorm the impact we wanted to make with our dental careers and with families, and so excited that we get to open Theo Pediatric Dentistry. It's actually in the process of being built and will be open in December. And Theo is our firstborn son's name, THEO, and it stands for Teaching Health and Empowering Others. And through Beachbody, we've just learned so much about building a business that we've translated that into what we're doing with dentistry. And we can't wait to just treat the patient as a whole. And it's not, just drill and fill. And it's really something that we're so passionate about, and still have a crazy life, still busy. And I stay in the trenches so that I can keep my coaches, on their toes and keep duplicatable systems going. So yeah, that's us.
Well, that's great. That was such a shameless plug for this new dental office that the Theo Dental. That was awesome. I love it, and I love the more holistic approach that you're bringing to it. So, hey, Brooke, thank you so much. And true to form, you've shared very abundantly here with a lot of passion, a lot of insight. And so, coaches, make sure you go back and listen to this, and we'll get that content that she talked about posted onto the Champions page. Sometime today. I'm not going to give you an exact hour. We got to do a little bit of work on that to get it done, but we will make that happen. So, Brooke, thank you so much.
Thank you, and it was a pleasure.
You bet. Okay, coaches, we are out of time. It's the 27th, but what Brooke did do was she gave you information, content, some pieces that you can put in place today into the now that can help you finish the month strong and to help people get started and to set yourself up for the future programs that are coming down the pipeline. So this is a personal thing. This is you leveling up in your business, taking advantage of now, today, in order to create greater results. So when I say it's personal, you've got to take this, you've got to run with it, you've got to execute with it. And to the degree that you do that, you will grow your business, you'll grow other people, and you'll be helping other people create the results that they want in their life and creating change. Who gets to do that? You do. So with that, Sandy, we're out of here. Make it a great end of the month, guys. Take care.
We are out of time. Next week is Labor Day, folks. We are still on. Rain or shine, holiday or no holiday. Jeff and I and Darren Ashby are still here. Facebook is blowing up. Nice job, Brooke. We're going to say goodbye and have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye-bye.